Hi everybody, I'm Jessica Melrose and thank you for giving my beaded plant hanger a try. Here's what you're going to need. 8 cords cut to 6.5 meters in length, scissors, a ruler or meter stick, a ring, and 10 beads. Go ahead and hang your ring on your S-hook or wherever you're going to work. Take one of your cords and fold it in half. Tie a front-facing lark's head knot around your ring. Do this by taking the folded end of your cord, passing it through the ring, and then pulling the 2 loose ends through the loop. Repeat this with 3 more cords. Fold the next cord so that it's 2 meters on one side and 4.5 meters on the other. Attach it to the left side of your ring, making sure that the short side of the cord ends up on the outside. Fold the next cord the same way, 2 meters on one side and 4.5 meters on the other, but this time attach it so that the shorter cord is on the right. So these 2 cords right here should be your 2-meter cords. Do the same thing on the other side with the last 2 cords. This should be your short cord. Now attach your last cord, making sure that the short cord is on the inside this time. So it should be the one on the left. Okay, so most of this plant hanger requires the use of square knots. So we're going to go over really quickly how to tie a square knot if you don't know how or if you don't remember. Start by holding the cord farthest to the right in your right hand and make sort of a letter P. What I like to do is pinch the 2 middle cords with the right cord, keep them in place. Then pick up your left cord, cross it over the tail of the P, behind the 2 middle cords, and through the loop. This is a half square knot. Now we do the other half by repeating the same thing in the other direction. So hold the farthest left cord in your left hand and make the number 4. Pass the right cord over the tail of the 4, behind the 2 middle cords, and then through the loop. And now pull it tight. So this is a right-facing square knot because of this little knot that's sticking out right here on the right-hand side. Okay, so here's my letter P with my right-hand cord. I'm going to cross my left cord over the tail and through the loop. You're going to have to pull a lot here because these are long. And then pull it tight. And now I'm going to make a number 4 with my left cord, cross the right cord, over the tail of the 4, and then behind the 2 middle cords and through the loop. And then pull it tight. So we're going to repeat this 10 more times. So we're going to have a total of 11 right-facing square knots on the far left. When you're done with this, you can count your knots by counting the little sticky outy lumps on the side. And we've got 11, so we're good to go. So now we're going to do the same thing on the right-hand side. 11 right-facing square knots in a row, all the way down. Now we're going to tie 4 rows of alternating square knots. Abbreviated, this is ASK. We're going to use the loose cords in the center of the piece to do that. So we're going to start by tying a knot right here. And then a knot just next to it. So that's going to be our first row. The second row should be a single knot using the middle and left cord and the middle and right cords from the 2 knots just above it. Your third row is going to have 2 knots, and your fourth row is going to only have 1 knot. Now you're going to go ahead and add a bead by stringing it on the 2 middle filler cords. Once it's on there, you're going to tie a square knot to keep it in place, and then continue with the pattern. Another row of 2 square knots, and then you're going to do a row of 3. So with this one, you're going to attach the 2 cords from the ropes on either side. So you kind of have to scoot them up, and that's what gives it that sort of bowed out look. And from here on out, we're basically going to just repeat the same thing. So you're going to do 11 square knots on either side. Now we're going to do a row of 2 square knots, and then 1 square knot. And then we're going to add a bead. Now do another row of 2, another row of 1, and then 1 more bead. And then another row of 2. And now we do our row of 3 where we include the 2 outer ropes. Once you get everything tied together, you can kind of tug on it and fluff it a little bit to make sure that it looks even. Now we're going to do the exact same thing one more time. Okay, so we're done with the bulk of our plant hanger. So what we're going to do is act like we're continuing the pattern in the middle. So do another row of 2, a row of 1, add a bead, and then tie it off with a square knot. So now instead of doing just 11 square knots for the ropes on the outside, we're going to do 22. So do that on the left, and then do the same thing on the right. 22 square knots. So now in the middle, we're going to do 2 ropes with 18 square knots. So you're going to take your 4 loose cords on the left and tie 18 square knots here. And then do the same thing with the 4 loose cords on the right. So 18 more square knots here, and these are going to be the beginning of kind of where our plant is going to be hanging from. So at the bottom of each of these ropes, we're going to add a bead and then 5 more square knots. So now depending on how big your plant is, you're going to measure some sort of distance. The longer you make this rope, kind of the bigger plant you can get in there. So I'm going to go about 8 inches, which would be like a medium-sized plant. And I'm going to take these 2 cords and then these 2 cords, and I'm going to tie 3 square knots. So in the example or on the PDF sheet that you might have, it might say 1 square knot. I'm just going to do 3 right now to reinforce it. You can do more or less if you want to, just depending on how heavy the plant is that you're going to be putting in there. So now I'm sort of alternating. I'm taking the 2 cords from one of the pieces that I just tied, and then I'm going to attach it to the rope that's on the far left there. And then you're just going to keep repeating this pattern, attaching the remaining ropes to each other, basically using alternating square knots, just kind of separated by 8 inches or whatever distance you choose. Okay, so the next part of this video, I'm going to show you guys how to do a crown knot, and these can be really difficult. So if it's too tough, feel free to skip ahead to the wrap knot. You absolutely don't need to end your plant hanger like this. So I'm taking the cords that are the closest to me and then the cords that are to the left and pulling them under. Now I'm going to take the cords in the back, put them under the cords to the left, and now I'm taking the cord to the right and putting that under the cord that's from the back, and then pulling it through the first cords that I was holding. So it kind of creates like a weaving situation. And this is where your plant would sit. So if you want to give this a shot, feel free to try it a couple times. It's hard, I'm not going to lie. And you can totally skip this if it doesn't make any sense to you. So most people, when they're doing this knot, like to do it from the bottom. So I'm going to show it to you from the bottom as well. So I'm taking the cord that is to the front and I'm crossing it over. Cord to the left is going over those cords. The cords on the top are crossing over the cords from the left. And then the cords on the right are going over the cords from the top and then through the hole from the cords from the bottom. And then you can tighten them and it creates that woven situation. And with the crown knot, you just kind of keep repeating that. So again, from the bottom up, and you want to leave a little bit of a loop from the left over, from the top down, and then from the right. You want to make sure those cords from the left stay on top of the cords from the right, and then cross it over the ones from the top and then through the loop that came up from the bottom. So I'm going to repeat this at normal speed until I'm done, because this is a pretty tough one to get used to. And again, if you try this a couple times and you're like, screw it, it's too hard, no worries. You can just skip ahead to the wrap knot and end your plant hanger with that. I just thought I'd throw this in as a bonus sort of challenge for anybody who wants to give it a shot. So I did this like 5 or 6 times. You can do it as many times as you want until you feel like it looks nice. So you can either leave it like this, or you can add the wrap knot. If you didn't get the crown knot, this is how you do the wrap knot. So you're going to take the longest cord that you can find, and you're going to kind of fold it, and then start wrapping it around, and try and make it even all the way around so you don't have any parts like sticking out or anything. And then when you get to the bottom where that loop is that you created, you're going to go ahead and pass the tail end of the cord through that little loop. And then once you stuff it in there, you can pull it tight, and then that is the end of your plant hanger. You're pretty much done. So the wrap knot can be done with the crown knot, without the crown knot, whatever you want. Go ahead and stuff your plant in there, fluff it up, and then make it look nice. And then you're finished. Thanks for watching, and thanks for supporting local Tucson folks, and I hope you enjoyed it.